Coming into this season, Chelsea were world champions, literally FIFA Club World Cup winners, Champions League football back at the Stamford Bridge for the first time in years, one of the biggest, most expensive squads in Europe, and their manager Enzo Maresca, the guy who built all of that, was being genuinely tipped by some people to challenge for the Premier League title. So how are they sitting in sixth place right now? How did the club that spent nearly £300 million in one summer end up losing at home to Manchester United? How did the manager who won the Club World Cup get shown the door 6 months into the very next season? Somewhere between lifting that trophy and starting this campaign, Chelsea found a way to completely fall apart. And the crazy part is that it was all avoidable. This is the full story of how Chelsea wasted one of its biggest opportunities they've had in years. And trust me, it's so much worse than you think. To understand what happened this season, we have to go all the way back to summer. Because before a single Premier League ball was kicked, Chelsea were already in trouble. Winning the Club World Cup is brilliant, honestly, but here's the part no one talks about. Winning it cost them. Because every other Premier League got 6 weeks off in the summer, but Chelsea got 2. Because they had to play the long grueling domestic season, they flew out to compete in an international tournament in a brutal heat. Then they had about 2 weeks to recover before the new campaign started. 2 weeks of rest, that's it. The physical cost was immediate and brutal. Levi Colwill, one of Chelsea's centre-back, picked up an ACL injury within days of preseason training. He played 38 games the season before, then went on to play for England, then came back to play the Club World Cup, and his body basically gave up. Levy wasn't alone. Lavi also got injured. Delap also got injured. All these players featured in the summer tournament, and somehow they couldn't even start the season before. So Chelsea basically kicked off the 2025-2026 Premier League season already men down. Half their squad was wrapped in bandages before October. The medical staff were working harder than Drake's PR team. But here's where it gets frustrating. The club knew this was coming. They knew the schedule. They knew the risk. So what did they do in the transfer window to prepare for it? Chelsea spent £296 million. That's not a football club doing transfer business. That's Taylor Swift buying out an entire stadium tour and still having change left over. And some way somehow they came back from the transfer window weaker in certain positions. Enzo Maresca was public about needing a centre-back after Colwell's injury. He said it clearly and earlier. The club response was basically figure it out yourself. They brought in Jori Hato, a promising young defender, and told the manager to find internal solutions. Internal solutions for a team supposedly pushing for the title. That's like Lionel Messi telling his chef he's hungry and the chef handing him a recipe book. But the real pain came from the players they let go. Because those players didn't just leave, they came back and embarrassed Chelsea almost immediately.
Got your ass.
Noe Madueke, who started 30 games for Chelsea the season before, was sold. He went to Arsenal and looked sharp straight away. Chelsea fans watching that had the same manager as someone who breaks up with their partner and sees them glowing on Instagram 2 weeks later. Petrovic, the goalkeeper they sent away on loan, became one of the best keepers in the league at Bournemouth, saving everything, clean sheets left and right. The goalkeeper Chelsea didn't want was out there playing like he had something to prove, because he did. And then there's Nicholas Jackson, who, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, wasted so many chances, but at the end of the day, he still left and went to Bayern Munich.
What do you mean by that?
So I just want to include it. So let's just recap. Chelsea spent £296 million. They sold their thriving goalkeeper, they sold their winger, they sold their striker, and they couldn't sign a centre-back. This is genuinely historical level of mismanagement. The transfer strategy at this club isn't buying world-class players, it's basically buying potential world-class players, young players with an upside, which is a fine for the long game, but upside doesn't stop a striker on Saturday. Results need ready players, not projects. Chelsea right now is trying to buy young players so they can sell them in the future. Even with the injuries and messy window, Chelsea still had enough to start playing decently. The opening fixtures were kind. Crystal Palace, West Ham, Fulham, Brentford in the first 4 games, very winnable on paper. They drew the first one, then lost, then nearly got knocked out of the Carabao Cup by a League One side. Nearly knocked out by a League One side. That's like Usain Bolt nearly losing the race to someone who just started jogging last Tuesday. It shouldn't be possible, but yet the discipline problems were just as embarrassing. Chelsea became the only team in the league that season to pick up multiple red cards in the earlier weeks. Their goalkeeper Robert Sanchez got himself sent off in the 5th minute against Manchester United.
What?
The 5th minute, before most people had even finished their half-time snack from the last game. Maresca was asked about the discipline record, and this is my favorite part. He said he didn't see any discipline problem. Bro, your goalkeeper just got sent off in the 5th minute. Your team has more red cards than every other one in the league. That's like Offset saying he doesn't see any relationship problems while the tweets are going viral in real time. The results weren't just bad, They were embarrassing for a squad of this supposed quality, and behind the scenes, it was about to get a whole lot worse. This is where it gets genuinely messy, because the Chelsea story this season isn't just about injuries and bad transfers. It's a full internal breakdown that dragged the whole thing down with it. Enzo Maresca came to the Stamford Bridge, won the Conference League, qualified for the Champions League, then lifted a Club World Cup all in one season. Remarkable. He had a contract until 2029. Everything looked stable. It was not stable. Chelsea have 5 sporting directors, not 1, 5. That's more directors than the Fast and Furious franchise. 5 people all with a seat at the table on recruitment and squad planning. Maresca was told from day one that he wouldn't have full control over signings, the medical department, or transfer strategies. He accepted that when he arrived. But after winning the Club World Cup, he clearly felt he earned the right to say more. The club disagreed, and that tension started eating away at everything. The frustration spilled into the press. Maresca was vocal about not getting the centre back he asked for, and then in December, he said the build-up to a match against Everton, game Chelsea actually won 2-0, was the worst 48 hours of his time at the club. He never explained what he meant. He just said it and walked away from the microphone like he was dropping an album and leaving Twitter. The speculations went crazy. His own staff even reportedly were shocked. Maresca's agent, Mendes, yes, the same agent for Ronaldo and half of the footballing world, apparently rang the club trying to figure out what was going on. Nobody really knew. Within 19 days of the comment, Chelsea announced they parted ways with Maresca.
This is the worst.
And up to today, there's currently a legal dispute over whether he resigned or was sacked. The man who made Chelsea world champions gone before February. That's not a football club operating normally. That's a reality TV show. Here's what I really want to say, because I think this is the most important part of the whole video. People always blame the manager at Chelsea, then they blame the transfers, then the individual players. And yeah, all of those things have been a problem this season, but none of them are actually the root cause of the problem. The root problem is structurally, and it's been so for years. Since Todd Bradley took over, Chelsea had been burning through managers, sporting directors, and squad overhauls at a pace that makes even Elon Musk's Twitter rebrand look stable. There is no consistent playing identity, no philosophy that outlasts a single manager's spell, no real on-time leadership, no one the squad looks up to and says that's our guy, let's follow him. Look at Arsenal, same manager for years, same clear structure, same core group of players building together. You watch Arsenal and you know exactly what they're trying to do. Now, watch Chelsea. What are they trying to do? What is their identity? What does the Chelsea goal actually look like? Genuinely, I'm asking, because after watching them all season, I still couldn't tell. The Todd Bradley takeover was supposed to fix all of this. Long contract, a young player model, patience and stability sounded great in the press conference, but in reality, they've still been through managers, still bought plenty players who don't fit the system, still had public fallouts between the dugouts and the boardroom, and it's like they keep releasing new albums, but every single one sounds exactly the same. And here's the number that should embarrass every single person running this club. Since Abramovich left, Chelsea have spent over £1 billion on transfers, billions with a B. 6th place, manager sacked by New Year, legal dispute over how he left, a squad so bloated that they could field 2 full teams and still have players left wondering if they are even registered, and still no clear idea of what this team actually is. At some point, you got to start blaming the individuals and ask, is the problem the people making the decisions at the top? Because the evidence have been pointing in one direction for a while now, and it's not exactly subtle. So what exactly went wrong with Chelsea this season? It wasn't just the injuries, it wasn't just the transfers, though they spent almost £300 million and came out with a weaker squad. It wasn't because of Maresca, because he actually won them trophies. It's everything else at the same time. A club that had everything lined up for a massive season and still found a way to destroy itself before Christmas. The world champions in 6th place, manager gone, a new manager, £300 million spent, and somehow now closer to figuring out what they actually want. Until the people running the club decide what they are trying to build and have the discipline to stick to it longer than one season, this story is just going to repeat itself. Just a different name, different contract, same chaos underneath. Chelsea fans, and I mean this genuinely, you deserve better than this. You've been through so much already and spent too much money to be watching your team be in the 6th place with a new manager every 18 months. Drop a comment down below. Do you think this is actually fixable, or is this just the new Chelsea? If you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe, because there is more on the way and it only gets entertaining from here.